everybody. Welcome back to another cruise with Big Smooth. Just pulling out today, heading to work. So, the other week this past weekend I had something interesting happen. I'm going to get into that here in a little bit, but before we get started, feel free to comment. I'd be more than willing to take any questions within reason. If you have a topic that you want to hear my thoughts on, I'd be happy to look up some stuff that I might not be overly familiar with and give you my opinion on it. Hit the subscribe button if you like what you're seeing. Just giving opinions and kind of honest conversation here. Also, hit the notification bell if you want to know when new videos go up. I'm trying to do 4 to 5 videos a week. All that just depends on work schedule and things like that. Anyway, so I realize I'm not that old, but I'm turning very rapidly into an old man or my father. Take your pick. And here's why I say that. I've always worked some sort of a side job. Just ways to make extra money when the 9 to 5, when you're off. And I've cut grass, I've done firewood, I've done pressure washing. I'm trying to think what all. I've just done it. If you can think of, I got a guy, but he's busy, I've done that. So, this past summer, there was one day I had met up with my family, done something, but I had to take the truck and the mower separately because I had to cut some grass afterward. Well, we had lunch, and I got really tired right after lunch. And so I found a spot in an industrial park on this afternoon. It was out of the way of all the traffic. Turned the truck off, set an alarm, and I took a nap in my truck, waiting on just wanting to feel better and more awake. Another thing I did, and I can't believe I did this. Well, I take that back. I can't believe my wife let me do this. This past Sunday, I had hurt my shoulder a little bit. And it wasn't feeling better. It had been going on for about 5-6 days. And I had some pain in certain ranges of motion in my shoulder. So I'm like, I think I want to get this x-ray just to make sure that there's nothing wrong. So we go to an urgent care center. Again, I had just had lunch. And the waiting room's kind of busy, so it's really cold out, having a nice heavy jacket on. And I'm sitting in the waiting room and I start getting really tired, so I stand up, I take my jacket off, I put it on backwards so I can pull the hood over my face, and I took a nap for about an hour. I didn't even know it. I thought I was up for like 10-15 minutes. Well, when I wake up, okay, first off, I couldn't sit next to my wife just due to the seats that were occupied in the waiting room. So my wife ended up sitting across from me in the waiting area, and there was a man and his wife or girlfriend sitting next to him. Well, I found out after the doctor's appointment that I had been out for like an hour, and I was sitting there like snoring the trim off the walls of this doctor's office. And the dude is sitting there looking at my wife, and she just, like, I don't know. That's love right there. But I said all that to say that there are a few perks to getting older. You can get away with stuff when you're older, I've found. Now, I'm not advocating for any of this, but when I was a kid, no drugs, no alcohol, wasn't promiscuous, but all my stories involve a steering wheel and great, fantastic acts of stupidity. When I was, let me think, 18 to 22, every time I got pulled over, so long as I was actually doing something, because I got pulled over a lot for nothing. But if I was doing something, I was getting a ticket. The last time I got pulled over, the cop was just irritated at me because I'd been working 7 days a week and hadn't had a chance to fix my taillight. And I told him that, which he's like, I pulled you over last week. I'm like, yeah. He's like, why didn't you fix it? I said, I've been working 7 days a week, 11, 12 hours a day. When do you want me to fix it? So anyway, but you get away with a little bit more when you're older because people don't think you're up to nothing, especially if you're a family man, because you do have a certain level of responsibility. Another perk to getting a little older is you see things differently as far as what's really important and what's not. I've always wanted a fun sports car, little 2-door manual transmission, fun thing, Mustang, older Corvette, older Porsche Boxsters, stuff like that. Just always wanted one. I used to work at a dealership years ago, and there were 2 times that I came very close to buying one, a Mustang. One came in on trade-in that would have been perfect. Another time I got really looking at all the, like at the end of the year, I got really looking at all the rebates and special end-of-year pricing on a Mustang, and I got pretty close to buying one. Glad I didn't. It worked out better for me in the long run, but I thought about it. But now, like my most recent car that I bought, the one I'm in, is probably the most boring vehicle I've ever bought, because it's the slowest vehicle I've ever bought. Bought it just to get good fuel mileage on my long commute to and from work, and it does exactly what I want it to do until you put the right pedal down. And I could have bought something a little more fun for me to commute in, but it would have cost more money, especially on insurance. And with it being the kind of thing that's just going to end up having a ton of miles put on it, getting back and forth to work, I didn't really want to be spending that money when I could have been spending it smarter on more important things for my family. So I didn't. 10 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I can afford it. Sure, that's what I'm going to drive. My wife just texted me. I apologize about the beep. wanted to say that there are some perks to getting old. You're capable of making better decisions and seeing things more clearly than you are when you're a kid. I remember when I was 18 to 19 years old, I had the world figured out, and the only thing left for me to do was go out there and beat it and just have all I wanted. Cool. And my dad was an idiot. At 30, I wish I was half as smart as I thought I was. And my dad wasn't half as dumb as I thought he was. There are certain things you learn only from having gray hairs, and I have a few. So I know a few things. Just from the school of gray hair. Well, I can't really think of much I wanted to add to that, but from a physical perspective, I know that growing old sucks. I'm old enough I can hurt myself sleeping. Here's a funny story. 2017, May of 2017, and also May of 2018. My family and I moved twice in that year. Not going to go into the backstory on all of it, but we had moved into a new rental house, and we were finishing construction on a house that we were building. Well, by we, the contractor. Well, we had moved twice, and in that period of time, I also ended up moving my sister, so I had moved a lot of furniture, appliances, etc. Sure, it's tiring, but no worse for the wear. Thanksgiving of 2019, our refrigerator went out. Long story there. So I am one of those people that has gone Black Friday shopping once when I was 17 or 18 years old and said, I don't think I want to do this again because people are crazy, inconsiderate jerks that a day after giving thanks for all the things that they have and take for granted on a daily basis have to go out and get $20 off the next new thing that they can be grateful for that they take for granted for a year. So that was sort of my opinion on Black Friday shopping. I'll do the online and Cyber Monday, but I'm not a Black Friday shopper. Matter of fact, the only times I have gone into stores on Black Friday is if it was something that I was going to get that wasn't Christmas. I remember there was one time my wife sent me to Walmart to pick something up for a recipe she was making on Black Friday. She wanted to make a dessert. And so I get sent into the store, and like all the lines around Walmart are jammed up from Black Friday shopping. And I go in there and I'm after sweetened condensed milk, whipped cream, stuff like that. So, not a Black Friday shopper. Well, anyway, so Black Friday of this past year, the refrigerator's down. We're doing everything we can to keep all the food from spoiling. And we load up, take the kids, go to Lowe's, buy a refrigerator. Go back out, pick it up with the truck because they couldn't get it delivered in time, and I'm not going to have all that food spoil or be frozen solid. So that night, after we get it picked up, my father-in-law comes in from out of town. He lives several hours away, and I've only gotten to see him a handful of times due to the travel logistics on both ends. But he came into town for a Thanksgiving dinner with everybody, and we're like, hey, you mind helping us move a refrigerator? No, I don't mind. And so it was one of the refrigerators with the French doors that pull apart in the center. Both of them were, the old one and the new one. And the thing that was a pain in the butt is those refrigerators are so big that all the doors and drawers have to come off and out to get it to go through the door to get it into the house. So we unbox the new refrigerator, take it apart, bring it into the house, put it together, empty the old refrigerator into the new refrigerator, take the old refrigerator apart, and we're moving it in. We're moving the old refrigerator out. And the last 3 steps of me manning the dolly, moving this old refrigerator, I get the muscle cramp, pain, spasm to end all muscle cramps. And I just about dropped this refrigerator on my father-in-law 2 years ago. I could have done all that. Get on your side of the road, bud. I could have done all that and not had a problem. But I just about dropped this refrigerator. I got it moved and settled down and started rubbing it. And, oh, man, that really hurt. I have no idea what happened. Hope it's not a hernia. It wasn't, but yeah, physically getting old isn't too good, but or too fun. But I tell you what, mentally, so long as you can stay sharp, there's a lot of things that you do come to have a deeper appreciation of than you ever could when you were a kid or young adult. I forget where, I know I've heard this on another podcast. I don't know if I can mention his name, but I'm going to. I'm not monetized yet. Joe Rogan. Listen to a lot of his shows. And he's quoted several studies that show that the brain isn't developed until the early to mid 20s. So when we put 18-year-old, call them adults, and they can vote, work, take out debt, all the things that adults get to do aside from buy alcohol or handguns in most states, that person's, no offense to anyone that's an 18-year-old, they're not all there yet. Their better judgment and higher reasoning centers haven't fully developed. And I forget the specific part of the brain, but basically that's what it is. So it's just amazing the appreciation that you have for things the older you get. Well, anyway, I think I've rambled on about long enough, so hope everybody has a good day. Tune in, see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.